Welcome back, friends, to APAC North. Game number 1 to kick off Stage 3 is about to begin. TALON versus Cyclops Athlete Gaming. We'll have a chat about this classic Korea versus Japan. APAC North is basically Korea v Japan anyways, so it's a great way to kick it all off. I'm your host. With me are Jack and Harry, Demo Dempster.
Who's Harry?
Full honors.
Harry. Who's Harry?
Harry Demo Dempster.
Give me my full title, please.
First of his name, last of his name. If he keeps playing Rainbow Six. I won't continue with that. Anyways.
Do it.
You can't say Harry without saying Demo Dempster, can you? It's just not possible.
Harry.
I'll take a Hazza.
Hazza?
What?
Hazza's top plays of the week. It's on his YouTube.
That is not going to be a segment. Let's put that
Okay, I'm going to need to take a look at that when we're done and actually understand what was going on, because I don't understand British.
Nobody understands.
Yeah, that's true. Let's talk about TALON first and what they'd have to offer. Jack, please help us out.
Oh, TALON, look, they have been on quite a good progression arc. Genuinely, they've been on quite a good progression arc over the past 6 or 7 months. There was times where we're thinking, oh, are TALON going to make the top 4? Are they going to make playoffs? Because obviously the playoff system was in Stage 1. Are they going to make the major? Can they fight it with the big boys? And they get so close and then fail. They made some really good changes back, and literally 1 year ago, I came on my very first APAC show 1 year ago, pretty much to the day, and I said, I'm not sure about these changes. And then TALON sucked Stage 3 last year, and then the improvement came Stage 1 and 2 of this year, where they've looked better. Obviously, they decided to make a player swap between the players already on the roster. Nobody new in, which is good for their progression. But yeah, I never really know what to make of TALON.
Yeah, and I think for TALON as well, for this split, you know, we've seen with the SI points, they need to have a good split. Yeah. You know, they have to get top 2. If they want to have a good chance at qualifying into 6 Invitational, they need to play some of the best stages of their life to get there.
Well then, CAG on the other side. We haven't seen Cyclops in competitive play, at least at the top, in just a moment here, but that's because of the swap. There's no more top 4. It's only the top 2 from the region that qualify, no more playoffs. So what happens with them?
I'm just going to do a second. I'm just going to wind you up, Demo. I'm going to wind you up. Keep winding, keep winding, keep winding, keep winding. Go. Talk about CAG.
Best team in the world. CAG. Best team in the world, but also the worst team in the world.
Why?
The playstyle. They are the most unique side. I think it was SI21, me and Ollie Caston, and I was done. I was completely out of it, because this side just... They're living with the Ninja Turtles. They're just absolute rats. Like, absolute rats the way they play Siege. They're hiding anything that you can hide under, they're underneath it. Cockroaches. That's like, it is... You cannot describe the way this team plays Siege. They could be fully passive on site, and they do a full 5-man run at the breach. They could do a full 5-man roam game. The strats that they do, you'd think they've just whacked on strat roulette. But it works. This is the worst thing about this side, is that all of this stuff that they do, it works. And that's what I think really annoyed me, because it's not supposed to. I try that. It doesn't work for me, but it works for these guys. Sadly, though, it's not a consistent way of playing Siege, and that's whenever they become the worst team in the world, because as soon as these strats get read into and this wacky stuff and the teams actually prep for them, which it's very difficult to prep for CAG, because, like I said, it is strat roulette. They could, you know, roll a dice what you're going to get. Yeah. But if you are ready for some of the stuff and you are very vigilant and you check everything, you don't let CAG get away with anything, then they are actually quite easy to play against. And that's the issue for CAG. That's whenever they turn into the worst and they can just be ran over. So it's one or two.
I think I consider them consistently inconsistent in terms of operators, in terms of roles, in terms of playstyle, in terms of map pool, in terms of everything. You don't know what you're going to get with CAG.
All right, our map for this series. Which one will it be? 9-map pool, just like in EUL, just like everywhere in the world. 8 are out, 1 is left, and we'll be left with Oregon, a classic one. Your Cyclops will pick up the map, but they start off on the attack as TALON has chosen defense. That's how the system goes for those that are kind of not in the loop on it. Jack, yes, I see you shaking.
Yeah, because this is a really curious map for me. It's a curious map for both teams. The reason why is TALON have a really high preference for this map, but suck at it. They don't win it, but they always leave it open. They love to play it. CAG generally don't like this map, but every time they do play it, they win it. So in a way, I'm not surprised to see that we've gone here, because CAG will go, yeah, we don't really like Oregon, but these guys love it, but actually they're not that great on it, historically speaking.
And another thing about this matchup, just in general, is we've seen this side play against each other 8 times. CAG has won all 8. And that's quite ironic. I don't think of two teams that have been against each other for so long, and one side has been so dominant.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, just personally off that basis, I think you just have to fancy CAG no matter what map it is, personally, just because it doesn't matter really what map it is. They're always being able to beat TALON.
So very quickly, what can TALON do to break this monotony?
It's that structured style. It's that what Demo talks about. It's like if you don't give CAG an inch, they won't take a mile. You've got to be on top of it.
They have to play just safe, passive siege, and they have to make sure that the droning has to be good today. Because if you don't drone well against CAG, that's where everyone slips up. If you let them get away with one cheese spot,
make sure you check your T3, check your small tower, check your showers, everything.
Everything needs to be checked.
All right, friends, thank you very much, Demo and Fresh. That's game number 1 to start off stage 3 of APAC North is CAG versus TALON. And we got Big Ace and Des on the other side. Enjoy.
I think I'm still reeling from Demo's rant about Fnatic. He called them cockroaches. He called them rats. Fnatic, sorry. CAG. I don't know why I have Fnatic in my head. Maybe that's the way I feel about Fnatic. We'll find out later on. Welcome to the desk. It's me, Des. Big Tim, once again. How you doing, Tim?
Yeah, I'm good today, Des. Thank you very much.
Good.
Looking forward to getting APAC underway. I always love Playday 1 of a new APAC stage because it's always crazy.
What, just the new Playday, mate? I don't know if you've watched APAC much recently, but it tends to be all the way through to the end. We see.
I know, they just throw a little bit of extra crazy on there for Playday 1.
No, I'm absolutely with you. Looking back at early last stage, in stage 2, I believe we had TALON sat in second place after 2 or 3 Playdays, so things can get pretty crazy. TALON no doubt looking to recreate some of that success here with a win on Playday 1.
Somebody has predicted TALON to win this one, you know. Des.
Was it you, Tim?
It was me.
Of course it was you. The thing is, I was a bit of a TALON stan at the start of last stage. You know, they brought in these 2 new players in Misa and Marble, and I was really excited by what we saw in the first few games. In their opening 3 games, Marble was one of the best players in the competition. Jaeger player, Vinker would absolutely roll over teams, going double-digit kills in 2 of those 3 games. Then the rest of the stage rolled around, and he was really quite disappointing, to be completely blunt, whereas Misa then kind of stepped up as a bit of a hero. So what happened is they ended up moving Marble down the ranks to play more towards a supportive role, kept Misa in that spot, but got him a little bit more involved in the action, and things started to work a bit better then. They even said in one of their final interviews, we feel we're starting to now get the team structure we've been looking for. So they think they found out what they're going for. They've had the off-season to prep for this. But Cyclops are not the team anyone wants to play on their first play day. Surprisingly, though, Tim, no Monty Ban coming in against Cyclops here.
You see, I just... The reason that I've gone for TALON is I cannot get last stage's Cyclops out of my head. They were so up and down. It was either a clear win or an easy loss. There was no in between for them. There was no middle ground performance. It was, you know, go big or go home, quite literally for Cyclops. And unfortunately for them, they went home. They didn't make it to the major. And I can't pile my faith in them yet, Des. They've got to make me believe before I can start going back in on them. Whereas TALON, I feel, were just on, like you say, that little bit of an upward trend. They were starting to get comfortable in their roles. They were piecing things together, and they seem to have a good couple of games. So for me, I've doubled down on it. We're going to say TALON for this one, but we'll see how it goes.
No.
Oregon, Playday 1 of APAC is always a bit of a classic. I remember a big Dan Wonky, a Fnatic game a couple of stages ago. Same map. Early in the stage, it's always going to be good. I think we're on for a cracker here, and we're down in the basement.
The thing is, Tim, I know exactly how this is going to go. TALON are starting on the defensive side, so we'll likely find success here on Oregon. You'll get progressively more excited as they win 2, 3, 4 rounds. I'll find you insufferable and tell you after about 6 rounds to pipe it down, but you'll still carry on until TALON do inevitably end up winning. I've already could just see it happening. I'm going to say maybe a 7.
I don't know where this smugness reputation comes from.
I
honestly don't. I've never been a smug person.
Now, that is total bollocks, and you know it. Let's get into round 1, though, and see what's coming through. On the side of Cyclops, we did almost see our new operator, Grim, stepping in for a second for Anaton, but he has changed away. The Ducapi was also dropped away, it's worth noting, in favour of the Flores, something that Anaton would normally rock along. One of those operators, or players, sorry, in the attacking side, that you give him a Mark 14, he can rip through an entire team by himself, but it's Kalos to find him before we can even see a single Rotero come out.
That's it. Let's stop the game. We've got it sorted. TALON going with a big opening kill to take an advantage against Cyclops. The excitement starts now, Des. The excitement starts now.
It's not excitement,
Soldier.
it's bias.
Soldier. There's no bias cast in here. Soldier, he's going to be particularly important down in Kitchen. We've got back to this, and I'm talking 3 years ago. Oregon, maybe even longer. Oregon in Esports, in Siege, Kitchen was the linchpin. It was the pivot of this map. And again, we're starting to see a lot more of that recently, is that when teams are defending top floor, they have somebody in kitchen and security. In bottom floor, they now have somebody kitchen and security. And teams really do have to go in and clear that out. And I think it was when we had the rework of the map and it was opened up so you could get from kitchen to basically everywhere. You can get down to Freezer, you can get down to Big Tower and rear stage stairs, you can get back to Laundry with a little rotation through to meeting. It just makes it such a powerful spot. So Soldier looks like he's been pushed away from there. So that, yep, he has his back downstairs now. So that's good work from Cyclops. That gives them a minute 15 where they can now focus completely on that downstairs, and that's exactly what they're doing as they push into Freezer.
It's very diligent from Cyclops. They've done a full map clear, essentially. Yep, cleared out a lot of gadgetry on the way through and now got themselves in a spot to start working forwards. Talon have really hunkered down here as well, with the free-to-wall being reinforced off. It's rare that you see this, unless you do find a couple of picks at the very start of a round. But Talon feel, having found one, they've already got the advantage. They don't need to contest Freezer, for example. They can just make the attackers sweat on their push coming in through the solo Freezer door. It does mean you've had Misa playing in behind the bomb chassis. I think he's got to move away now, as Hibana has opened up that wall, which now puts him under a lot of pressure and threat.
30 seconds left to go, and Talon, as you say, they're sort of happy to bunker down here, but it could be a mistake if they lose the next couple of kills. Those are the particularly important ones for Talon. Basically, they've got to keep themselves alive. They can't let Cyclops get in and start taking control of site. There's one! If Cyclops get another, Talon might be wishing that they had pushed them on the advantage when they had it. Demic managed to take down Gatorada, but Suzushi's just walking through site and through everybody right now. Andy's going to start throwing the diffuser down. Canos, he's the one that's left in the 1v3. He knows that there's potentially a push going to come from Freezer door, but he can't just focus all of his attention on it. He's got to think about elsewhere. It's Suzushi with another. What a personal round for him. Great play from Cyclops. And I think, as I said, as that push began, Des, 30-second mark, Talon might just rue the fact that they didn't push the advantage when they had it, that they didn't keep a man out there in the map just to hassle Cyclops. You can't hold on for that long in basement of Oregon against this Cyclops team.
He's running the Supernova, Tim. I don't think that's a lie. I've seen Hibana play it probably in APAC about 18 months ago, but I can't think of the last time I've seen a Hibana run in and get a kill with a Supernova. Now, maybe this is down to the recall changes. We spoke about those a little bit the other day on the EUL broadcast. Look, Supernova. Bam. See you later. The Type 89 is probably one of the worst effective... What's he trying to do at that range, really? If that had got that kill, that would have been spectacular, but no. What I will say is that in the recall changes, the Type 89 has had a lot of horizontal drift added. It goes very hard out towards the right, arguably more so than any other gun now, and the vertical recoil has been doubled as well. It is much harder to control. The bearing, I'd say, is still a decent gun. Many would go as far as saying that. I just don't really know if I'm fully behind this idea of running the Supernova, to be honest with you, Tim. That's maybe a step too far, but it is Cyclops. If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be them.
You mentioned the bearing there. Fresh got an absolute, just as a little aside, it's just come back to me when you said bearing. Fresh got an absolutely disgusting hit by a headshot.
And now, what now? Now he got to press shotguns for Anaton?
Does what he wants. Does what he wants. The suppressors have seen the damage drop off removed, so we're seeing a lot more suppressors inside of the game. Not too...
I don't even know what shotgun she has. I've never seen it. I need to look this.
You're about to.
Honestly, if anyone was going to rat on me on Playday 1 of APAC North, it was going to be Cyclops, wasn't it? Let's be real.
Of course it was. You know that they're always going to bring something a little bit funky to the table, and that's exactly what they're doing, but it also brings entertainment with it. Now then, top floor hold, it's going to be for Talon in round number 2. Anaton already inside of the map, going to be holding the angle into Zulu, so Demic's going to need to be particularly careful if he tries to rotate anywhere, but I think he's going to come under pressure fairly soon. I did mention that kitchen and security position. That is the one that I was talking about. Is there, open up the floor above them, and they try to hold on to double window, prevent any hopping, prevent the diffuser going down, but I think they're going to find themselves with no Anaton just not managing to land the shots with the shotgun. I really thought he had the advantage there, but Soldier just taking the high ground and taking him down.
All right, so it turns out that Amaru has the Supernova. I didn't know that. I thought it was mainly the Japanese operators that have that gun, but no, here we are. Another kill comes flying through, but Black round to Soldier, bringing us to 4 versus 4, but the Glass stepping in, abusing that smoke and finding a freebie. Now looking for more. Back corner finds another Irrigator in deep. Gatorada with him, a 4v1, and Cyclops have decimated Talon in round 2.
Talon have to find a way to stop this just onslaught that's going on inside of sites here. They're doing really well around the map. They've got the opening kill both rounds, Canos, Soldier, getting them off to that good start, but then they just can't keep the pressure on Cyclops, and Cyclops just brush it off. On they go, they find the kills, and all of the kills so far, I think I'm right in saying this, every single kill for Cyclops has actually come inside of a bomb site, and that's not something that they can really be allowing here, Talon, because it means that no matter what work they do during the early and mid round, it isn't going to matter because Cyclops are just going to flood site and find all the kills. So they got to start winning those important gunfights where it counts in the most important rooms in the map, which at any given time, of course, are your bomb sites.
What I have just clocked actually, Tim, I didn't even look down the player rosters properly. I know that Talon have got a 6-player roster to see who is and isn't playing. I spoke quite a lot about Marble. He isn't in this game. He's on the bench for this one. So we've got Canos coming in alongside Hedy and Demic as the kind of front 3. Soldier and Misa have been, well, staples for this team, and Demic had a really good stage last stage overall as well. Hedy, interestingly, did get moved a lot into more of like a flank watch role. Here he's back on that hard support. Obviously on the defensive side, you don't really have flank watch. So a couple of changes in terms of who's playing in what position, maybe more specific to this map. But just an interesting note that Marble is not present.
I'm going to be back down to the basement.
I was too blasted
Talon.
away by the Supernovas, Tim, is the problem.
That is the problem.
They're back
we're
again.
Be back
They're back again. Here
back
we go.
down to the basement. No surprise, after Talon have been absolutely hammered in both rounds so far, so not wanting to keep themselves there. This goes from bad to worse, as Irrigator this time gets the opener onto Canos, so where Talon have been able to at least find that opening kill previously, they can't even claim that this time. Now then, there's a man still up on the top floor, but he's going to find himself isolated very quickly. Gatorada's moving across this top floor, and I hope that hatch is open in kids' dorms, because otherwise they are going to be stuck and likely finding themselves another body. Soldier trying to hold on here for the time being. He's got his rotation through into pit, but he's going to need a little bit of support if he wants to stay in that position.
He does have the shotgun for the more close. It's a game of shotguns, I swear to God. He does have the ability to open that hatch, but in fact it's already opened up, and he's got the wall reinforced going in towards dining, so it's safer to drop away. That stops someone getting control of dining doors, spraying through the soft wall and basically completely shutting you down from using that hatch. Soldier going for a C4, and a great shot upstairs. Will find Irrigator, but not before he brings down Misa.
Not a bad little trade for Cyclops there. They can play the attrition game here, and they can just take 1 for 1, and they will ultimately win the round. Soldier has been forced away. Gatorada still chasing him down at the minute, but he's got himself back to sight. You can see all 3 of Talon now back in sight. Soldier's going to be holding down Highway and Pillars for the time being. Hedy choosing to come back in from elbow, so that will give up bunker, but right now that is not a huge problem, although as I say that, I see a pair of legs heading in that direction. It's going to be Anaton for Cyclops getting himself into position. He can push straight into bunker here realistically. Needs to be careful for the challenge from Shaiko from Soldier, but if he just waits his time, that is what is going to happen. Suzuki, I saw him on the hatch there and knew that that wall was going to get opened up through electrical, and it makes it difficult for Soldier to keep himself in this position, and certainly difficult for him to make a challenge onto Anaton.
I'm somewhat surprised no one was playing around pillar to shoot those off. Normally you can have someone step across, for example, even inside of sight and shoot those away. Just means your player on Shaiko is much more secure. Soldier going in for the swing, not quite connecting the shots, lose half his HP, and there comes that Mark 14 I was talking about earlier from Anaton. Brings down another, a 4v2 once again.
It was well played. Soldier had very little option. He either dipped away from there, gave up pillars, gave up electrical, gave up bunker, or he tried to get aggressive and make a play. But unfortunately, the play made him that time as Anaton got in there and took him down. You can see complete control over the rear side now for Cyclops. Time is their only factor as they have to get in and get this diffuser down. What have they done, Des? They've run in and they've let the diffuser go down on the deck. Talon are fighting back. It's a 1v1 effectively as Anaton is down right now, but the clock comes in as the spare man gets the job done for Talon. They can't really claim that as a round won, but it certainly wasn't a round lost.
Got to give massive commendations to Heady there as well. That decision at that minute 15 mark to move the shield back in from elbow, or wherever you want to call it, blue tops, moving it back in from elbow, back inside of sight, and repositioning it towards where he thought the attack might come through, which was around the pillar side. Perfect read. Smoking off the doorway, making it a real difficult choke point to come through, taking 2 separate 1v1s. Done all that he needed to do there as well to win that round for his team, so really well played.
I've got to ask questions to Cyclops there. And I think this is sometimes the problem that you get with a team like Cyclops. So they do the crazy plays, they do, they'll go for the big flashy moments to try and get something won. It sometimes works against them. And I've got to say, I think it did that time around. So Suzushi, diffuser in hand, the smoke canister goes out, there's 10 seconds left. He has to make a play, he's got to do something, I agree with that. But running into no man's land in the bang middle of sight through that smoke just probably wasn't that play. His options were limited, I agree, but by doing that, it dropped the diffuser down inside of sight, so then others had to follow him. They had no choice. They just had to keep flooding in. And I'd mentioned it 10 seconds before. The time was becoming a factor for Cyclops, so as much as they'd done great work up to that point, they just hadn't moved quickly enough, and that's something that they need to avoid, because you see exactly what happens. You have players that then rush of blood to the head and they have to make something happen, and it just didn't pan out. So TALON get themselves the first round on the board. Maybe that will be the spark that ignites a powder keg under them and starts really getting them moving in this one. It's meeting this time, so a tertiary site. They've decided not to go back to the top floor.
Or potentially under Cyclops, it lights that keg as well, because looking at the team, there's no more suppressed supernovas, there's no more Hibana running some wild crap. It's all back to basics here, essentially. Back on ace with the Selmas coming out, no doubt partly because of the site we're going to, but I'm also looking at the overall comp. I'm a little bit unsure of them running a Nomad here, truthfully, because we haven't really seen Talon get too crazy out on the roam. If nothing else, that's more Cyclops saying we definitely want to lock down our backsides for this push, but I'm looking mainly towards things like the Lion, the Decabi here. Those two are going to be absolute terrors.
Certainly our soldiers trying to hold down Attic for the time being. They want to keep that vertical presence for as long as possible, but less than halfway through the round, I think he's now really felt the pressure under his collar there, and he's dipped himself away. What a shot from Kanos! Just getting aggressive onto the double window, and Suzushi finds himself taken down once again. He had a big round in round one, but he hasn't been able to replicate, and I said it might just start some fireworks for Talon, and Kanos, he is popping off left, right, and center at the minute. Finds himself a second in this round, and it's 5 versus 3 for Talon now.
I think ultimately Cyclops have had a lot of freedom in taking roam control so far in the first few rounds of the game, but this one, Talon have really dug themselves in on the top floor. Reinforcements, smokes being burnt, for example. Very rare you see that level of investment. Candace is ready for number 3 as a flash comes through, but it's a great cross from Irrigator, who gets the sideswipe and takes him down, but the damage has been done.
Vertical angles can now start to be used, but with only 3 players left on the board and 2 of them upstairs, Cyclops need to think about that clock again. 40 seconds. Go, Des. I
was going to say, is the hatch reinforced? Because they've got 9 flash. No, it's not. Thank God for that. It was left open to retreat
wish
down.
It was.
They will. At this point, it's still 2 kills coming through, and Black Ray still now looking to push his way around towards security. There is 1 man dug inside. Demic's very conscious of these vertical angles that have been opened up by the Buck. With the door reinforced, so that could be all they really need here. Black Ray has got to make something work with just 1 bullet's worth of health to his name.
There's no way that Cyclops should win this from here. Drop comes in. Irrigator can do nothing as Demic cuts him down from security. Black Ray, he's a breath away from death. There's no way that he finds this 1v3. Soldier takes a peek, sees his man, re-peeks it and slaps him down. That's going to be Talon leveling things up 2-2.
I was going to say, if they'd left that hatch reinforced, for example, and sort of committed members, this is Talon, by the way, if they committed members to die upstairs, that's fine. I'd be very concerned for Cyclops at that point, because they had 9 flashes in back pocket. They had the Buck on side who could have brought the hard breach gadget, but that really could have bitten them. There's not really a world where the defenders wouldn't have that hatch opened up, because you do want to retreat back down it. But just looking at that, I was a bit nervous that Ace was the only hard breach they had on the entire roster, given maybe what needed to be done on that site to actually get a plant down. Either way, Tim, back up to this top floor now. You've seen that Twitch potentially being brought along by Anderton. Spoke about this operator quite a lot during EUL. The F2, one of the only guns whose recoil wasn't really hit that hard. I know the vertical recoil was increased, but it was still a very similar pattern to before. So if nothing else, it should feel pretty good on this patch.
Yeah, I mean, we've certainly seen an uptick in the pick rate so far. We'll know better after, you know, we've had a few weeks of play, but we saw it in EUL, we're seeing it here in APAC North, a little bit more action for Twitch, who once upon a day was extremely popular with the F2 and then sort of dropped out of popularity a little bit. But as you say, with the reduction in recoil, or at least the reduced change compared to others, Twitch might just find herself a shining star once again. Now then, we've got Soldier up on T3. Always an interesting one to keep an eye on, because of course it takes a good bit of diligence to make sure that that's drawn out and that player's dealt with. And given that he's opened up both windows, that suggests to me that Soldier, he's not looking to go anywhere for the time being. He wants the opportunity to peek, particularly, I would imagine, onto double window this time.
It also forces the respect, right? If Cyclops are being a little bit ignorant and ignoring Big Tower altogether, that is just free.
Too easy.
Too easy. That's, I'm going to say, some of the focus. You know, if these windows are closed up completely, then maybe they assume, right, no one's there. Clearly, it's not a problem at all. Now you know it's open, you will have to drone it out. You will have to go and check it. And Soldier's kind of made that read there, understands, all right, well, we're down a man on site, I've got to get back. But at least with those barricades being knocked out ever so slightly, it feeds some info over. Gets picked up by the F2 on the way back, though. Cyclops, great start to the round.
We saw Soldier win that exact fight from the attic hatch earlier, but just not able to repeat it there. Anaton cutting him down now then. Demic gets himself into a fight, missing a few shots there, but manages to get the job done. Takes Black Ray down and prevents the push coming through from Small Tower at least. That keeps White Stairs safe for the time being, and it also keeps Demic in position underneath that double window. But he's distracted at the minute, Des, massively. He's heading towards Freezer. There's a real opportunity here if they were playing on the double windows, but Cyclops this time are at least slowing getting there. We can see there's two of their players moving in that westerly direction, so they may well now head their way up. I think Gatorada is on the left-hand side of our screen, going to be heading up towards, yes, he is indeed, towards that double window. You see, doesn't matter if it's on the left, Des, you can't slow me down. I still know where they all are.
Just think about it, mate. When your vision comes back, you'll be like Superman.
Oh, it's going to be like superpowers.
You had to see literally everything. Anaton with a second in the round again. That F2, keep on speaking about it, but it is Anaton at the same time, so you can't put it all down to the gun. But he was sat watching Kitchen for the longest time inside a split, just expecting a rotate to come through from security. So Cyclops was slowly trying to strangle that net in there, find another member. Oh. What a one-tap as well from Kanos. Just casual as anything. I know it was kind of onto a stationary guy, but still nice and snappy. Love it. Gets his way back in towards site. He's now left alone, but Anaton makes it a 4. Let the F2 sing, he says.
Suzushi's been a little bit sloppy for me since that first round. There's a couple of deaths.
You mean since he rocked out the supernova, Tim?
Basically, yeah. There's been just a couple of deaths that really could have been avoided, like that one. He's on drone. He stood completely in the open. You know, you've just got to get yourself into a little position of safety. You've got to get yourself some cover if you're going to sit completely out in your drone. You're unprotected. And it's the easiest one tap of Kanos' life. All he has to do is look out of a window. And yeah, so for me, come on, Suzushi, you got to switch on. You got to be making sure that you're covering those elements off. But for the time being, we're going to have a Talon time out. They're going to go the TAC timeout route, have a little chat. They've got themselves a couple of rounds, but Cyclops have come back at them now. And I'm enjoying this one, Des. A lot of back and forth for these two teams.
I've really enjoyed how in the last 3 rounds we've seen Talon actually start getting out in the map. Because look back at round 1, for example. 90 seconds in, they're all on site. Cyclops are just doing a full roam clear on the top floor, getting rid of gadgets for free. Talon almost backed off a little bit too soon. Whereas looking at that round just there, let's think about what happened early on. You had Soldier on the Legion playing up in Big Tower, wasting a bit of time. He backed away after about 60 seconds, got the wall reinforced off. Cyclops were like, cool, it's clear, he's reinforced the wall, no one's up there anymore, we can crack on. Now, part of it is, yes, absolutely down to Suzushi's mistake there, but for Kanos to then go and retake Big Tower and use that to get a freebie is a great sign for the round. Sure, he's walked away in a spot where he's obviously left it at 1 versus 3. Anaton's had a bit of a life round there with 4 kills out of the 5 that he's got in the entire game, but I just like that we're seeing them being willing to get a little bit more fluid, a little bit more mobile in the round and try and cause a bit of an upset for Cyclops.
Well, this is the final opportunity to cause an upset on the defence. They're going to be back down in Laundry once again. Won it back in round 3.
Oh, he didn't reinforce the wall in the end. I didn't realise. I thought he did.
No, he didn't. Lost it back in round 1, won it in round 3, 50-50 so far for Talon, but you got to say that Cyclops didn't hand them the win in round 3, but certainly allowed the clock to play its part. So Talon just need a little bit more in the earlier mid-round, I think. Give themselves an opportunity to win this one. Canos, he's not going to be staying too long in there. He knows that the pressure's mounting into rear. Talon just misses his opportunity, Des. It was there for the taking, but Ayagator, he gets in and snatches that opening kill from the grasp of Canos.
I mean, Canos did almost get it. Ayagator's down to sub 5 HP, just unfortunate there not to get the full completion, but it's still another entry for Cyclops, finding the vast majority of them in the game so far. Now, for Talon, the thing is, once they lose this man, what we've seen them do previously on this site is that then backed away, tried to hide themselves down a little bit. I'd actually kind of like to see the inverse here, commit a bit more to the roam. Sort of what they're doing now. Actually, 2 of them are hanging around the security side. Just try and burn through the clock a little bit more, because if you back away now in a 4 versus 5 and you give the whole map to Cyclops, you're basically writing your own death warrant there.
At least one man drops back to Freezer. This is something that we've seen from Talon and that I've criticised previously, is maybe dropping back to site too early on this one, not leaving somebody out in the map to be able to make a challenge onto Cyclops to make them feel uncomfortable. And they've been able to really set those attacks up, set those executes and push forward. And that's exactly what's happening here. We can see Cyclops are absolutely stacked up towards the rear stage stairs. That could have gone drastically wrong, Des. 3 pushing down together. That could have been a very quick 3 kill. But Anaton, he manages to get his man near draining him. There's nowhere for Heady to go. Full white flash. If they just push forward, they'll find the kill. But no, they've allowed him to get back into position. Shotgun in hand. Heady is going to continue fighting, as does Demic. But surely the time is limited for Talon to do something about this.
I love the aggression coming out of Cyclops. I love the counter-aggression coming out of Misa. He finds 2, makes it 3 as well. And they've won the round, Tim. How on earth have they swung that?
I don't know how that's happened, Des.
How is that even allowed? Like,
I don't know.
There's 2 players watching Pillar. There's one halfway up the stairs. There's one in Shiko's spot. And I don't know why, but for that brief second, the player that was on Shiko's spot turns their attention towards Tarps. There's no need. You've got 2 players pushing down that side already. And that brief second of looking away, that brief lapse of attention, just lets them back into it, it seems.
There was a team kill in there as well.
Yeah, at the very end.
Yep.
I did just see our score on our tech pause then was 4-2. I'm pretty sure it was a win for Talon, no?
Yeah, it's a win for Talon.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm so confused. But look at this, is what I mean, right? The
no,
positioning...
it's 3-3, don't worry.
You're counting, Tim, I'm sure you are. It was just...
Yeah, it's 3-3.
Yeah, it was just getting into that position. I was just like, how? Like, I know that the push-up highway, I was going to say at the end of the round, okay, I actually like what they've tried to do here. They've tried to retake ground. There's been a call from Heady. There's a push coming in through Tarps, down elbow. Cool, we can try and make a play here. And I love that from Talon. I didn't think they'd be successful because I saw the player on Shiko, I saw the player on Tower Stairs and thought they had their angles covered. But they absolutely do not. And maybe there's even a question to be asked here for the Nomad. Why are you pushing down Tower Stairs? All you've got to do is hold the angle and stop them getting across behind your team. But instead he comes marching down, exposes himself in full view with no cover and gets blasted down by Misa. That is, for all intents and purposes, a thrown round by Cyclops. But they'll still be happy with 3 attacking rounds, I'd wager.
Yeah, I think, ultimately a little bit of panic set in for Cyclops there.
A little bit.
It was a little bit of a strange play to begin with, as I said, with 3 of them pushing down rear stage stairs together. It's hardly a rush at that point of the round. And like I said, Anaton gets the kill, but in a different world, they were stacked up in a line ready to be taken down with 3 quick headshots if the spray is right. So it was a little bit of a risk there. And I feel like maybe that induced the panic. It was like, right, we were lucky, we got away with that push into bunker push, and everything just seemed to, it was almost like they'd hit a hill and the speed was just, they were on a bike going down a hill and they got a bit of a wobble on, and you just can't control it and it's getting bigger and bigger and you know what's going to happen. You just sort of have to try and go with it. And ultimately, Cyclops, they got thrown right off that bike at the bottom of the hill, and Talon, they mopped up.
Oh, I love the chaos, though. This is, you said earlier on, Tim, I'll give it to you. You said you just don't know what you're going to get on day 1 of APAC North, and so far we've had a really, really entertaining game. It is only 6 rounds through. Of course, still a whole second half to go. Imagine here we'll have a quick rehost before we get into things. I can still hear game sound. Production can catch me up on what's going down, but we'll find out in a moment, and no doubt get back into things anyway.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll keep you abreast of anything that is going on. But for the time being, it is going to be a quick little rehost, and we'll get everybody back in and we'll get cracking again with this second half. But Cyclops, for me, they've just got to calm things down a little bit here. Now they can allow that clock. So there was a couple of times where they sort of tried to do it on attack and just tried to slow things down a bit, and it ended up costing them because ultimately they ran out of time. But, this is not something they need to worry about now. Cyclops, they need to take the opportunity. They've gone on to defense. Right, let's just steady the ship a bit here. We've lost a couple of rounds because it's all got a bit frantic, it's all got a bit fraught, and we've given Talon the opportunity to take them. Particularly, it's the 2 laundry rounds that Talon have won that I'm talking about, round 3 and round 6. Both of them have ended just really frantically for Cyclops, just, with big question marks over what they were doing, really. So for me now, it's an opportunity. They've got the little rehost here as well. They can just take a breath, calm down, get themselves on the defense and start locking things down. If they can let Anaton get out on the roam, start finding those entry kills and just, really hassle Talon, I think they get some joy, to be honest. I think they can get this done.
The one thing for Cyclops in the second half that I think I really want to see is out-and-out aggression. I always reference their game against Team 1 on this map back at, I want to say it was the Mexico Major now. Long time ago. Had a lot of events since then. But they were absolute nightmares. Out the front door, out windows, anything they could do to get up in the face of the attackers and slow them down. This is even before we were in the current meta that we're in now, by the way. If anything, they should be even more aggressive now than what they used to be. The only downside being Talon and other teams in APAC North are perfectly aware of how Cyclops play this game. So that aggression has got to come out. It's got to be tempered. It's got to be measured. It can't be like that last attacking round, just throw everyone down tower stairs and hope for the best. It's got to be more coordinated than that, but I do want to see them getting up in the face of Talon here and trying to shut them out the round early. That was something that Talon didn't do for the first 2 or 3 rounds in that first half.
Yeah, I'd maybe, in that same vein, Des, I'd maybe like to see them do the DPEC, get the Echo out there, use it out of the drone holes and get aggressive with it, out of a few doors, out of a few windows, and like you said, just really send a message.
I think if nothing else, we've seen teams try and use the Echo. We saw it during EUL. There were several teams doing it. And every time I was watching, I'd just watch a Yokai get shot early mid-round. I'd be like, DPEC wouldn't have done that. DPEC would have kept it going. But I haven't really seen many teams using them to send the drone out through drone holes, for example, and collect information. That seems to be a bit of a DPEC special, at least so far. Maybe teams are trying to warm into playing the Echo before they start any crazy stuff like that.
I think we've got everybody back in, we will be heading into round number 7. We will get Cyclops' defensive phase underway. Right now, taking stock of how things have been so far at the half, as I've just said, this one for me does lean in favour of Cyclops at the moment. 3-3 at the half, I think, sort of suits them on the attack. And I think we're going to see them, like you say, a little bit of aggression, pick up an early kill here and there against Talon, and then we'll maybe just see Talon struggle a little bit. Basically, I can't see Talon bringing that same insight aggression that Cyclops were able to achieve, just going in there, 3-4 kills. And I'm not sure that's something they're going to have in the locker. Let's see as it progresses. But round 7 is going to see Cyclops taking us down to the basement here. They're going to be in Laundry to kick things off. Interested to see how much of a presence there is from them around the map. Particularly, I'm looking at Black Ray on the Alibi. Maybe joined by Gatorada on the Jaeger, supported by Anaton and a few Black Eye cameras, not Black Ray cameras. And that'll be, again, a tough time for Talon to clear that out.
Black Ray cameras makes it sound like it's going to shoot like a laser beam of death at you.
If he's feeding that information directly into Black Ray, that's effectively what they become.
They are basically a Black Ray camera at that point. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Speaking of, Black Ray doing his old special self, get out on the roam, try and be really aggressive early round. Always looking for early engagements, and here, no matter what he seems to try, he just can't quite find his man. Also seen by a drone coming towards Zulu. Must know that someone's coming. Gonna find his man for free as Demet was distracted by the freezer. Great little play from Black Ray, and gets himself out of dodge.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Too easy there from Talon. They can't be giving up those opening kills quite so freely. Black Ray will take them all day long. What I want to see from Cyclops here is what Talon didn't do, and that's keep players up there. Don't just dip everybody back now that you've got that opening kill. That is what they're doing for the time being, and I hope they stick with it. Keep Talon on their toes. Keep them on the back foot. Don't allow them to get map control and start pushing towards site. Keep Suzushi in this position. Don't allow yourself to be forced back to just 5-man turtle on site.
Obviously got to be wary here of any pressure that could also come in from Canos. Doesn't really have any support here. He is very much alone as the pressure comes through. I say that actually, it's a lie. There is someone on Freezer stairs. It has a bit of support as Heady's going to find a kill back onto Blackray. So, the initial assailant on this team has been brought down. Soldiers C4'd out and put down, but not out. Will be down to about 20 HP when revived up, which means he's one shot away from being finished off here. Suzushi, what a great spot to be in. It's a 2K from Irgator as he gets nice and cheeky there on the side swipe.
Beautiful teamwork there as Suzushi starts opening up the floor, takes a little bit of attention, and Irgator steps in and gets the job done. And now then Canos knows he's got to deal with security, but there's very little he's likely to be able to do about it. Look at the position that Suzushi's taken up here, hard left of the door with the shotgun in hand. This favours him for this engagement every single inch, so much so that you can see Canos has got no interest in taking that one on. Instead, he's going to head himself down into Freezer. This is the other way to deal with somebody in security potentially. Get yourself into Freezer, find a couple of kills, and then all of a sudden he has to start thinking about getting himself back towards site. But Canos is going for it this time. Manages to get his man on the pre-fire. Suzushi, you can't lose that one.
I think at this spot, though, with these walls being soft at the bottom, Ganorada should find a second, and now there's only Heady, left standing with it all to do against 3. Cyclops really putting the pressure on Talon around the map at this point. Is that a black guy inside the cubby, by the way? Yes, it absolutely is. It never got shot. Fantastic. Feeding information across, and it just gives Cyclops a very, very comfortable first defensive round. Barely really seeing any action around the site itself there, Tim, except for in those last few seconds.
Yeah, exactly, and that was the difference that I wanted to see out of Cyclops. You know, I said it at the beginning, let's keep those players out there on their own. Blackray's giving you that advantage with the opener. Yes, he got very late traded as they picked him up about 30 seconds later, but the damage was done and Cyclops were able to maintain their presence. Irgator and Suzushi particularly combining well to get that double at the top of White, and it really did just make life difficult for Talon then. Did everything they needed. I feel, again, let's have a bit more of that from Cyclops. Keep somebody active, maybe in the basement here. We see that occasionally, so that there's always that threat of them appearing at rear stage stairs, pushing onto your attic if you're trying to push in through there as an attacker. You've always got the potential of somebody just going and using those windows, as we saw Canos do previously, to pick up the kill onto anybody pushing double windows. So, again, Cyclops, get players out there, keep them active. That's the way you're going to beat Talon.
5 seconds to go.
It's hard for Talon in general, to be honest, though, because although obviously it looks great right now for Cyclops, it's Talon that have got to find the ideas. I would almost wager they spent a bit too long dancing around security and around White Stairs there. It's probably my biggest concern. They weren't really sure whether or not to go and challenge Suzushi. Do we leave him there? Do we not? Do we push in for this? And you saw a little bit of cool rotation between them, for example. You had the Iana tossing in the frag grenade that got eaten by the ADS. Attention goes straight downstairs. Then we have Heady on the Habana step across to start tossing in flashes, just kind of taking it over. So it was a good bit of due diligence being shown, I feel, by Talon, almost finding him as well with the Iana when they came back upstairs. But this is what I mean by due diligence as well. It's got to shine through. And you had him on a drone? That's unforgivable. Let's be honest. That is just unforgivable.
It is when you've got a number of players currently in drones. Blackray going to find Misa as well. Things are falling apart quickly for Talon. And as I said, Cyclops just keeping that foot on the accelerator, not letting them breathe. If anything, they're increasing the pressure. That opener from Irgator showing that, you're not even safe outside of the map, let alone inside of it. So for the time being, Talon, they've just had to take a backward step here, get back on the drones, try and get some information. Right now, the essential next move for them is get a kill or two. They can't start pushing onto site, especially not top floor in a 3 versus 5. They've got to level the numbers here. They've got to even things up.
Well, at this point, it's going to be trying to feed for scraps, it feels. Just, what? You've got to try and find something vertically. If you can. Worth noting as well, the changes that came to Legion. I think recently they've extended the range on which you can see your goo mines. So the reason why you'll see a bit of an uppick in Legion is just because you'll now be able to see and use that as information. Back before Legion got nerfed, where his goos could only be seen in a certain proximity to him, you could basically watch the goo indicator, see when they get popped, and know when someone is pushing you from a certain angle. That's kind of back now, not fully, but it is still now quite impactful in terms of the intel that it can give.
Yeah, you've still got to have that line of sight. Obviously, you used to be able to see it through.
Because
Is it back through walls?
He could see the one on. Now he can see the ones that are on green
very
stairs.
true. Could see it there.
Yeah,
big change for Legion. Then I thought it had just been the distance increased as I read it. But
maybe it's a bug for us on Observer. I don't know.
very possibly, but certainly worth looking into. Anyway, we're going to have nades raining in, but it's going to be kills raining in for Cyclops, and that's what's more important. Black Ray managing to find Demic. Canos just can't find his man as the peak comes around. Very difficult, of course. Big reflex shot is needed to be able to just tap at the right time, but right now, Cyclops, they've got themselves back to site. They're happy to sit there. There's 30 seconds left to go. Canos is going to have to do something. There's one left underneath. Ping comes out. Going to be a little bit of damage to Sushi. He'll no doubt take himself. I was going to say he'll take himself back, but no, absolutely not. He's going to continue peeking, as is Anaton. They find the kill, flawless round for Cyclops, and they've just hit another level in the last few rounds.
It's like playing whack-a-mole against Cyclops, isn't it? You feel like you scare one off, then a window's being smashed open, someone's taunting you from a doorway. It's a nightmare. I'd hate playing against this team. I think we all would, given how good we are at the game, Tim. But I think either way, for Talon, they're getting the welcome back to APAC North here, where their attacks are maybe looking a little bit, I don't want to say lethargic, but they're not fully complete. It's like having a jigsaw puzzle and you're missing the last 3 pieces in the box. You haven't quite got a full picture. Most of it's there. You can see the drone work is being done. You can see they're working together to push certain spots. But just small things are out of place or not quite there, and it's costing them kills that ultimately is losing the rounds.
I can't see you being a big jigsaw man, Des, if I'm honest.
I'm not, mate. I haven't got the patience for it.
I was just going to say, I don't think you'd have the patience for it. Well, how do they build that synergy?
You know me so well, Tim. You know me. The thing is, you strike me as the kind of person that would sit there for like 3 days straight doing a jigsaw.
I don't mind a little jigsaw puzzle, I'll be honest. It's not, you see, for me, I mean, this is going over a hell of a tangent, isn't it? It's not so much the actual functional doing the puzzle. I quite like it as like a social thing. So I quite like, you know, if Vicky and I, my wife, will do a little jigsaw puzzle, we'll just spend an hour in an evening, do it, and we'll sit and chat. And I quite like the social element.
I like the idea of that. To be honest with you, mate, I could just imagine sitting there with a beer or two, building a jigsaw with you.
Yeah.
And I'd just be the chaotic one who wants to make things look stupid by putting jigsaw pieces upside down.
You'd be the one who doesn't do the border first. You'd just be the one who starts putting the hot air balloon together that goes somewhere in the middle.
Correct. It tells you a lot about a person when you build a jigsaw together, apparently.
Let's get back into the round then. Round number 9, it's going to be meeting this time around tertiary site for Cyclops, but I tell you what, I don't think it's going to look too tertiary if their defense continues as it has done. They've been absolutely dominant so far. We've got the Orsa presence at rear stage with Soldier. He's got in there. He's got 2 shields deployed, I think, at least 1 on the mezzanine. If not, the second will be coming in soon, and that's going to be, again, trying to hold an angle. You want 1 towards the rear stage where the plant spot's going to be, and you want 1 towards Attic, effectively, or 1 to challenge both, as they've got at the minute. There's the second one. One of those is likely to be moved, I would have expected. It's going to be pushed into a position to support the plant a little bit more. I think we might have just heard it, picked up and repositioned a little bit. So the wall gets opened. We're going to go through about 30-40 seconds of probably trying to find a kill or 2, and then they'll think about getting in for that final execute.
Also thinking about all the utility clear. The one thing I do like about this site for Talon, and maybe it's a small faux pas coming out from Cyclops, is they've gone to a site where Talon can just go direct to site. They need very minimal control. They just need big tower. They haven't got to worry about clearing top floor and working through the ground floor then, for example. Things are a lot more simple for them. And this nade is on the other side of the bag, so it will not get the kill, but Soldier does get that opener onto Gator. I just feel, again, this site is actually really well positioned for Talon. For Cyclops, it could stink.
Certainly could. Black Ray's in an important position behind those sandbags. He is, or is it Suzuki? Sorry, it's Suzuki, just on the Wamai that's going to be playing in there. Very important. Has an opportunity to prevent this diffuser going down if the opportunity presents itself for Talon. So they really need to try and deal with him. They've sent the nades in. They've not really worked out. He's got a magnet there that he can play behind. He's just hopping either side, takes a few shots, can't find his man. And Soldier, as I suggested, maybe he would, relocates that shield and tries to get himself in to put the diffuser down. The shield is cleared out, but Demic gets the kill at the same time onto Suzuki. 3 versus 5 now, and Talon, they got to win this from here, surely. Soldier thinks about putting the diffuser down, but he has to come off. The Echo drone is going to prevent this. A couple of kills. Black Ray with a huge move!
Kills the man watching the flank, and then also gets the planter as well. Massive, but the thing is, the shield still stands. They've still got 2 impacts in the back pocket of Anaton. Why is this allowed to stand? Here comes Black Ray again. They had a bit of information, but they can't find the kills. The shield stands, and the plant is down.
Just shows how powerful that shield position is from Orsa there, despite 3 kills in that position, despite a number of Echo disruptions, they've still been able to get it down. The fight continues. Gatarada cannot find the pixel peak as Demic shuts him down, and this looks like it could be a first successful attack for Talon. Anaton trying to get something going, but no, shut down on the rear stage stairs, and that's going to be Talon locking it down 4-5, keeping it close.
Good stuff, yeah. I mean, I was nervous when Blackray managed to get his whole way up towards green and get 2 kills from there, but if that's the only thing that's gone wrong in that round, I wouldn't be complaining if I was Talon. A number of times we've seen Cyclops execute onto this site and get hit by someone coming up through attic, by someone coming up from basement most critically. It's happened to them 2 or 3 times, so I would have figured that maybe they'd have been the ones to try something quite creative in trying to disrupt it, but that was the most static we've seen Cyclops so far, so unsurprisingly, Talon have been able to abuse that and get the plant down. Now though, they've got to deal with a downstairs attack, which means dealing once again with that roam game.
It does. The problem for Talon there is, you know, yes, they should take some excitement and momentum and energy out of that round win, but ultimately they've got to remember that was sort of on medium difficulty. You know, you've just moved up to pro now. You've just moved up to expert level, where Cyclops are back down in the laundry. They've got laundry, they've got dorms, they've got 2 sites that they've absolutely dominated on. Let's not forget, dorms was a flawless round as well back in round number 8. Sorry, no, it was yes, dorms was flawless back in round 8. So they've got these 2 sites that see them finish off a 7-4 win potentially here. So Talon, you know, you got to ramp it up now. You got to move with the times. You got to move with the difficulty, and it looks like they're going to be moving down to bunker to kick things off.
Did they see him? I was about to say, did they see him just lay down then for a second? No, they didn't, because it's not open at the bottom side. Just here on the top, they're waiting for it to get shot out. C4 to come over the top, and Anaton might find himself a cheeky kill or 2. I think seeing the Ying and the Glaz in combo here, though, you know exactly what's coming out from Talon here. They want to get those smokes down. They want to cause some chaos, and they want to see Soldier getting in there and getting some kills. Hasn't really had too many since that rehost has come through, but for Talon, I guess that last round was the only one they found successfully, so no big surprise.
Anaton with nerves of steel there, just holding himself in position. Nitro comes out and gets his man. Takes down Soldier with an absolute beauty. And as I say, just really having to have those nerves there as the bullets flew in through the soft wall above his head, pinging off the wall behind him, but he was going nowhere, and he knew what was there to be found, and he delivered. Great opener. Demic going to take a lot of damage. Heady, he was wounded in the battle as well, and right now Talon massively on the back foot in round 10, but here come the Candelas.
They're going to try and burn their way down towards Elbow here, pushing it through, but the shotgun wins out first. Blackray finding his 1, Anaton his 2nd, a 3rd and a 4th fly through. It's a flawless round from Cyclops. Tim, I've got to give such a big shout out. I think that was a really good read by Cyclops. No doubt what's probably happened here is they've watched Talon try and pull off an execute like that before. I don't know where they might have seen it, either in previous games on Oregon or somewhere else, I don't know, but they've read that so well and had the perfect counter lined up, because whilst the attackers are obviously leaning so heavily into those smokes, it also means you cannot shoot out that C4, and they find the perfect man. It's the Glaz, the one who gets to utilize that smoke. Such a smart read, fantastic round by Cyclops, now find themselves at match point.
Absolutely love that from the guy. Honestly, I know the thought process going through his mind at that point, because it's the exact same that I have when I'm planting in ranked, and that is the bullets are whizzing by, you can't really see what's going on, and you're just thinking, please, 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 let me get away with this, and then the bullets stop and you think, right, I'm in, and out the nitro goes. Absolutely beautiful. Nerves of steel.
And then,
we head then...
And then you just come out of there, the smoke dissipates, you turn to your left, there's a guy stood there looking for where you might be, and you both scream and you knife him first, right?
Exactly that.
Happened so many times, it's brilliant.
So often. Round number 11, we go into then Cyclops on the defense, this time of dorms, and as I suggested, Talon, yes, they got around on the attack, but only in medium difficulty, really, on a meeting site where they didn't have to deal with a roam game, where they didn't have to deal with the same sort of aggression and threat that Cyclops are able to bring downstairs, and that they're going to be able to bring on the top floor as well. We've seen them do it previously. They've got a flawless round on laundry, they've had a flawless round on dorms. Talon, it's now or never.
The thing is, Suzushi, he's going to... Oh, Katarada. Oh, Katarada. For Suzushi, he held down inside of security so long last time around. And Talon looks a little bit unsure. They were considering 3 or 4 options on how to deal with him, and ultimately chose none. And indecision is the biggest causer of, well, biggest cause of accidents on the road, but also, it turns out, in Siege Tim. If they need to really be decisive here, like Cyclops are when they were on their attacks, even if it looked mental, 4 players pushing down big tower stairs, they made a call and they committed. We've got to see Suzushi removed from downstairs because he is the linchpin of this defense. Security sits central to almost everything. It controls the window, it controls white stairs. If you leave the wall soft, it also controls kitchen. Here it's reinforced off, but I've got to see them unsettle that first.
Debic established inside a massive bedroom, looking to get into trophy. This is actually quite good progress from Talon. They've got themselves at least route 1. They've got that wall open. Canos manages to find Irrigator as well. So that's maybe just going to change Cyclops' game plan here a little bit, and they're going to have to think about moving players back towards site. They might not be able to commit quite as heavily to the roam as they have done previously, and quite rightly, Suzushi is the only one left off site, and as you said, as that security position is particularly important, he'll hold on to it for as long as possible. But Talon, good progress so far. 1 minute 20 left on the clock. They've got the breach open. They've got Diffuser in hand in position.
God.
They can definitely do something here. Anaton lucky to get away with his life there in Attic.
Where's he going to rotate away to? Because this is the exact spot where Irrigator died early on, trying to go for a similar play. I think you're trying to prep a potential jump out, but it feels like the wrong window to do so on, unless you're trying to draw a bit of attention. Black Ray finds Demet back on the other side, though. A bit of a balance at least setting up for now, but it feels like Anaton's in hot water.
Black Ray just holding that long angle. Anaton, he might have been in hot water, Des, but all he does is take himself a nice relaxing bubble bath. He jumps out and gets himself a kill and just really fires Cyclops towards a Playday 1 win here. 4v1, it's all up to Heady. It's the support main on the Thermite, pushes in behind the smoke. He binds one, takes down Black Ray. That gives him a little bit of hope, at least 1v3 now. Still plenty of kills to be found. Nitro, that was pre-placed, I believe, is not going to have any impact there. Trying to find the man on white stairs, but cannot. Pushes in towards Pit. He knows he's got 17 seconds. He's got to make a move. He starts to get the diffuser down, but it's Suzushi from that power position underneath that takes his man down, and Cyclops calls out a full 3-point win.
You see in there how easy it is as well when you've got no pressure coming in on the shower side of the map for Suzushi to move into Zulu and just blast out any floor that he needs to. I think Talon had the right idea. Try and push him from the east side, ignore the really heavy setup on the west. But fundamentally, Cyclops adapt well. The roam game, just too much for Talon today.
Yeah, it was. They just didn't have an answer. As soon as they got them onto the defence, that was it. You know, Cyclops really did just push forward. Suggested it might be the case given what we'd seen in the first half. Talon showing signs of promise, to be fair. Had a few good rounds, but certainly still work for them to do as a roster. Here I am.
Ta-da! We're still with the Magic Tim. Or the Big Tim. Not really the Magic Tim. Oh, you're the Magic Tim.
I don't think there's very much magic about me.
Tim,
it's becoming more bionic.
I don't know. It's becoming more bionic. And that head of yours,
surely.
that bald head of yours is a crystal ball, let's not forget.
It certainly is.
It's the other side of it as well. Well, it couldn't quite get the future predictions of how this game will go. Talon do fall down against Cyclops, of course, and I've got to rub that one in just a little bit more. Cyclops take the win. Let's go to a break. When we come back, Desk will break it down for you.